we were gonna go on a camping trip, and we had some people, so I was just extending it to you because we were hanging out at that time. We were cool, and so I asked you if you wanted to go. You said you did, um, and it ended up being a lot of people canceled honestly, but it just ended up being the four of us. Yeah, we were gonna go on a tubing trip on the river up north. So
Yeah.
yeah, we all got together, and I don't know if you want to tell your part now. I guess.
Yeah. So because originally, this is why I was talking about the honorable mentions. Originally, your cousin wasn't one of the people, and you told me that kind of last minute, and I was a little weird about it. And the reason I was weird about it, because, and again, not saying names, but I was, had some talking, had some, relations with his big brother's girlfriend at the
Oh
time,
no!
whatever she was.
Oh
You
no!
knew this. Don't play dumb.
You told me. Yeah, you told me later. Yes, I didn't know
Okay.
that after. Yeah, after the fact.
Yeah. So I was weird about it. Me and her weren't talking at that point, but it was something that, I was like, I knew his big brother knew about it, and I was like, is this gonna be like, are me and him gonna butt heads because of this? Is this gonna be a problem? I didn't know how like easygoing he was, right?
Yeah,
So
no,
I was,
he's cool. He's a good dude.
but I was like, I was unsure about it at that point. That was the first kind of ease of tension. But you know, long story short, you came and you picked me up. Did you pick me up, or did we all meet at your place?
I picked you up.
Yeah.
I picked you up from yeah, your mom's house, and
Then
we
we
went.
went on our way.
Yeah, I think we like packed the car first, but so the crazy part though is on the way up there. No excuses. We got lost. I'm
Yep.
driving. It's where I've been like multiple times for whatever fucking reason. I don't pay attention for shit, and you'll probably notice. No, but so no, for whatever reason, I got lost. I got turned around. We'll say that I didn't get lost. Like we weren't fucking lost. I got turned around for a second. But this is before. This is like before GPS was like a thing though. Like it was a thing, but it wasn't like you had it on your phone. Like it was fucking. I remember we had like MapQuest
Yeah, it was like
directions that were like
MapQuest or
printed
some
out and
shit.
shit. Yeah, we got turned around for a second. I think I ended up actually looking it up on my phone and then noticed, hey, we zigged when we should have zagged. So, but like in the midst of that, I don't know if you remember this or not. You probably do. I pull into a gas station, and I'm like, oh fuck, I need to go that way. So I pull in
Uh-huh.
the gas station. I pull out the other side if I can make a left. We're in the middle of nowhere. Like
Yeah.
literally, there's like cornfields around. Like there is nothing
Oh,
but this
nothing.
gas
Yeah.
station. Yeah, it was. We were in the middle of nowhere. So I pull in this gas station without stopping. I roll through and I fucking make a left and I start going back the opposite direction. And we get pulled over
Hmm.
by the cops right after that,
Yep.
right?
I remember getting
And
pulled over. I don't remember like why we got pulled over, but I do remember getting pulled over and being like,
well,
"Fuck."
in my personal opinion, no one's fucking there. I should be okay.
Yeah.
He didn't think so. So,
Yeah.
we had some weed in the bag, whatever. We
Hmm.
had some stuff.
Some
We were going up.
little
We were gonna
sticky
party and
sticky, a
shit,
little.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I was a little nervous. I ain't gonna lie.
So the first day we camped. So we set up tents and everything. Because remember, we went to your property the first day. We set up camp, all the tents, all that kind of stuff. After we got the grass,
Yeah,
everything all cleared, and then for night 2 and night 3, we stayed at the motel. So we stayed at the motel for 2 nights, and then for the final night we camped again. So I was like, why? That's kind of like a weird thing, but in the scheme of things, I'm glad I got some motel,
I think
action.
we stay at like this seedy like motel. Like someone definitely has sold a kidney in the bathtub.
So basically, we get up there, we get everything done. I mean, it's like I felt like I was living in the Amish times. We were like, we had to, which is fine. That's part of the experience. You gotta, this is what they had to do back in the day when they got into a settlement. You had to make that settlement livable. You had to set up camp. It was the whole experience. So
Yeah,
anyway, we start smoking some of that Mary Joanna,
some of the
and
dankest.
Mike gets a little, in my opinion, a little paranoid, a little in his head a bit. And
I,
I mean, we're 4 hours, at least 4 hours away from the
4 hours.
city, right?
Yeah,
So 4 hours in the middle of nowhere. Mike starts getting worked up. Again,
I think he
no
had like a
dis-
panic attack, man. I think he started
yeah,
freaking. I don't really know,
yeah.
to be honest. Like to this day, I still don't really know like what the fuck happened with him.
So he ends up freaking out. he has this phone call, which again I think was to a degree a little
completely
fake.
made up. He's literally just
like,
holding his phone to his head, like, "Hey,
yeah, and
hello?"
acting. I mean, there was no cell phone service out there. I mean, there was
None.
nothing.
Yeah,
There was
none.
nothing. So this guy gets this miraculous phone call, and apparently someone's in the hospital or something like that. So he's he's got to dip
I
out.
think his grandma had passed away. I think is what he actually like what he
Did
had
that
said.
actually happen though? Because again, I feel
No,
like
I don't think so. Yeah, we have this conversation. He's like, "Yeah, I need to go home," and I'm like, "Okay, well, you drove here with me though, so
Yeah, yeah, I remember that.
how the fuck is that gonna work?" But
It's
this is the first day, dude. We drove 4 hours to get there, two
oh yeah.
hours back. I mean, after doing the work, 2 hours back to drop him off, 2 hours back again. So I drove 8 hours in one fucking day.
It was like things were getting more and more intense. Number one, we already established that I'm not like, built for like I've been up north and stuff, but the up north experiences I've had were they're baby. I mean, these are like, this is like calling anything that I've done before camping, even when I've went on a campground, which I have, and I've had some horror stories, even with making things as easy as possible. So this whole thing was like naked in the wild or something. It was like it was crazy. And so you have to, I was, again, I was like pissed off about this. You end up having to leave, and I'm like, is he really fucking leaving? And
so, brought up a tent for me and my wife, and I brought up an extra tent because you and Mike both needed a tent, which is fine. And then actually my cousin brought his own tent, which was
okay, that was the yellow one,
which was like a fucking pup tent. It was like a one person, like a Boy Scout fucking ass pup tent.
It was like, but yeah, so me and him end up becoming roommates, and we end up, and again, I don't know this guy, right? I knew Mike because I worked with him too. I didn't know him, but yeah, there's no, at least for me, there was no cell phone service. I had nothing, and
very little.
Yeah,
like you might be able to get a text if you walk in the right spot, but like,
yeah, and so
that was rare. So
I remember,
we were
like,
definitely in the wilderness.
Yeah, because it was bad enough to where we couldn't actually have a phone call with you. I remember that. Like, we did not know you were coming back until you literally came back. Like, it was like, man, fuck. Like, if he never makes it, like, what the fuck are we gonna do? So yeah, I was.
I hate to laugh.
Yeah.
He just left us here. We don't have any cell phones.
Yeah, nothing. But yeah, so that whole thing, I'm thinking the worst because things have already been bad. Like at this point, like shit after shit has happened. So you end up like coming back. It's been a long fucking day for I think everybody. You more than anybody. And so we don't even like really party that night.
I think it was 4 nights, 5 days, and I think the first 2 or 3
because we stay at the motel for.
motel.
I think the motel, I mean, again, I'm, we're having to reach a little bit, but I feel like the first night, because I remember like, yeah, because we woke up at the campground and then we used the like toy rifle thing to shoot stuff with. And we did that for like the day. And then we went to the motel.
The lady that owned the motel, like this is like a seedy fucking motel. And when you roll up, one, it looks like a piece of shit. And one of the first things you notice when you roll up is this Corvette that's out there, right? Like it's like a 90s Corvette.
Yeah.
And it's sitting out front, and you're like, whoa, okay, like this is a piece of shit motel. What's this Corvette out here?
Yeah.
So come to find out, Corvette doesn't even run. And the lady that owns it has some guy who is working on this fucking thing. So we're partying in our rooms and shit. And like your room was right next to our room, so we're hanging out in between the 2 rooms, going back and forth, whatever. We were playing beer pong in my room. I remember that.
Yeah.
And we see this guy, and I remember we were doing the Ed Bassmaster fucking, would you look at that?
Oh yeah.
That's how it started.
That just came out.
Yeah. That was like new at the time. Like, oh, look at this, look at that. And you know what? I'm about to go over to this fucking guy working on this Corvette out here, and I'm gonna pull that shit, the fucking prank on him. And he goes over there. Oh, this is a nice car. Would you look at this? Look at that. And the guy's like looking at him like, he almost looked like he lived there, but at the same time, you weren't sure if he just showed up.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, look.
He might have been trying to steal it or something.
Yeah, exactly. He just played it off like he was working on it, but really just stealing it. Yeah, exactly. And you start doing the, oh, would you look at this, look at that kind of thing. And then he starts partying with us.
Yeah.
And we give him some beers and shit. And dude, this is like my favorite part of that whole like running into that guy though, is I remember I handed him a beer. And it was like a fucking file cabinet. Dude just pulls out his bottom lip and just kills his entire fucking beer. And like, and like literally, like what? He like shotgunned this beer within a matter of like 3 seconds. And I just remember like looking at this motherfucker like, God damn, boy. Like,
Yeah.
and yeah, he hung out with us for the rest of the night. It was weird.
What's hilarious too, because you're like picturing this as like seedy, and I'm sure it is. But like after the whole thing with the settlement and the camping issues and all that, like how much I like after, because this is how I think I remember the first how we did camp there for one night before we went to the motel. Like I remember like praying that you would change your mind about us sleeping there again. Like I remember like come on, man, like that motel, like after that night of staying in that tent, like felt like the Ritz-Carlton, man. Like I was like, you know, they got the air conditioner in here, they got a TV, you know, like me and him, me and your cousin each had our own bed. Like it was like, man, I felt like, yeah, a bathroom. Yeah, I felt like I was living in paradise. So I really did not want to go back to the campground. And me and your cousin were getting along. I mean, me and him,
he's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I was like, man, this isn't so bad. Like things felt like when we got to the motel, things felt like, oh man, I'm digging. Like things are finally going. Yeah, the ship might turn around.
Yeah, but unfortunately it ended, right? So we end up going back to the settlement. Now we're on to our last night.
Then, you know, they hung out. We got drunk. We got high. We launched fireworks, which again, crazy, but like being drunk and high
at the time, for sure.
Yeah. And like launching a firework, like literally being the one launched, dude, it was like one of the most beautiful things. It was like
just also Tony, we gotta mention up there, there's very little light pollution.
Yeah.
And so you can see the stars in the sky. Like it's crazy. Like you can you can also get a glimpse of the northern lights where we're at.
Oh, but yeah, it was awesome. That night was like, even though we had to camp and everything like that, it wasn't on my mind. You know, that was part of my goal too, because I knew that I was a little freaked out about the nature, the bears, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, if I get fucked up enough to where I just can clock out, you know, that was the game plan. And we got shammered. I mean, it was you know, we got really, really fucked up. And so really, I guess just getting to the climax.
Top 3 drunkest I've ever been in my life, by the way.
Yeah. No, but, it was.
Yeah, we drank all day. It was amazing. What I noticed though, I'm just gonna say this from my perspective of seeing things. You and my cousin started bonding. You know, you guys are roommates and shit. So by the way, I also have to throw this out here. When we went to take Mike back, there was no talk of like being roommates. Like you and Mike had already, you know, pre-trip kind of said, all right, well, you know, we're going to be roommates, whatever, no big deal.
Yeah.
Whatever. Because you guys knew each other already previous. So you didn't know my cousin. You said all that. But when we leave to take Mike, when we come back, you and my cousin had worked out a deal, right? All the food that was in the pup tent.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, that you guys had together. We had kept, how the fuck did that go? We had the food somewhere else, and I think you guys had it in your tent, but I think I told you guys about the bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, don't put any food in your tent, whatever. You and my cousin are in the same tent, and the other tent, which was like the pup tent, the little guy, was the supply tent, which had all the food in it. So you guys made this arrangement that you guys are going to be roommates when I was gone. That night, I noticed you guys are bonding, which is great. You know, it's cool. He's a good dude. You're a good dude. And I also know, by the way, he's younger than myself and you by at least 3 or 4 years. Probably like 19 then.
Yeah.
Or 20. Okay, 20 at the very most. And I honestly don't even think he was, but I think he was 19.
Yeah, so, he was over 18, I feel like. I don't think he was like a child.
He was definitely over 18. Yeah, he wasn't 17. I don't even know why I said that. He wasn't 17. He was over 18. Anyway, you guys start going shot for shot. And I'm like, oh, shit, okay.
Okay, yep.
My guy can put it away. You know what I'm saying? Whatever.
Yeah.
He's no angel. None of us are. You know, at this point, we're deep into it at this point. Yep. You guys are passing it back and forth. You guys are going back and forth. And I was like, God damn, that's a lot of alcohol for him. You know, I mean, I didn't really know about, you know, your status.
Yeah.
I know you like to party. You're a party animal, whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about him for 100%. So I was like, I'm like, shit, that's kind of a lot. but fuck it, it's our last day, man. Like, let this guy,
Yeah.
live his life. I ain't gonna stop no one from having a good
Right.
time. And so then how does the night go from there? I went to sleep, I think around 2 or 3 a.m. I think.
Because you're bringing up stuff that I don't even remember, so my memory is definitely damaged. But there's certain things that are implanted in my brain that will
100%.
never leave. I'll be on my
100%.
deathbed and I'll have like my life will flashback, and this will be something that I'll see.
100%.
So yeah, so basically, did we have air mattresses, or what even were we sleeping on? Was it just like a raw sleeping bag?
I had an air mattress. I don't know what you guys particularly brought. I had an air mattress for sure. You may have brought one.
I feel like well, I don't know if I brought one, but maybe Mike brought one and I just got to keep whatever he left up there or something. I don't remember. But I feel like
stuff up there.
Yeah. I feel like I was at least sleeping on an air mattress. So I had an air mattress. I don't think your cousin had one. I think he just had a sleeping bag, whatever the case was. So I go down to lay in the air mattress. Now my head is facing the door of the tent. So when you're leaving and entering the tent, this is where my head is, and so I'm seeing who's leaving, who's entering, that whole thing. And so I feel like he went to try to pass out, and then I see him, like, I'm starting to like nod off, I'm starting to pass out, like my eyes are closing, and then I see him open up the tent, bend out of it, so half of him is, his upper torso is outside of the tent while his butt and legs are still inside the tent. And he starts puking like crazy. And, my first instinct is concern, right? Because you're right, he was younger. I didn't know how he partied before that either. So I'm like, oh man, you okay? You okay? You okay? And he's just puking. And, he's wearing khaki shorts just to kind of paint a picture. It's summertime. People are wearing khakis. Not a big deal. No judgment on khakis. And all of a sudden, I noticed this poop just like it doesn't, the physics of this poop still do not make sense. There's like, we need Bill Nye the Science Guy. Like, we need answers. Like, there's so many unanswered questions about this poop, like, that just make zero sense.
Dude, but basically, growing the tail, bro.
Yeah. So a poop literally just comes out of his pants, and he's got his pants on, like his pants are not off, but somehow there was enough of a gap between the khaki shorts and his thigh for the poop. And he's, I'm a big guy. I'm not disrespecting your cousin. He's a big guy too. I don't have a big gap with my shorts and my thigh. Usually that boy is tighter than a joint rolled by a grandma, so so I don't know how there was this much of a clearing space, but that poop came out clean. It was a clean.
For saying you didn't want to do math earlier, you just did a lot of fucking, I feel like you just did a lot of geometry, bro.
There was, yeah, I mean, we
the circumference of his leg, and then the shorts, and then the shit.
Yeah, but it just came out so clean. It was like a perfect gap of boom, and it just lays on the floor of the tent. And like, so now I have this poop, this turd, and it's not in pieces, it's in one solid piece, and it's literally, it's staring at me, I'm staring at it, and I go in shock for a second. Like, I'm like, did you just take a shit? And I just start freaking the fuck out, dude. I just start losing my shit. Like, I start going nuts, dude. I'm like, dude, you took a shit. Like, and I remember just going crazy. And what's even like crazier is, like, I dragged the air mattress out of the tent. So, and somehow, I mean, at least I hope, I have no idea, but somehow this air mattress, me dragging it out of the tent, evaded the poop and all the throw up. I don't know how. And I'm just like cussing them out, like, I'm going crazy, like, how could you, like what the hell, man? Like, yeah, how could you do, like, what the floor am I supposed to sleep? Like how am I, like, what am I supposed to do? And he's like,
how could you do this to me, man?
Yeah,
I thought we were friends. Okay, you can't hold your bowels for me.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm freaking the fuck out, because now, like, we're we're in the middle of nowhere again.
Yeah.
My sleeping options are very limited. And I remember at first
you didn't want to sleep alone.
Yeah,
Not that you guys were like cuddled up, but you wanted him like in the tent with you to keep you, company basically in case of something were to happen.
Yeah.
Might be faster than him kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's so that was a big part of wanting to have a roommate kind of thing. But yeah, so I remember after this, like in the midst of me cussing up a storm, like fucking being super angry, I go into your tent and
okay. So go ahead, finish yours, and then I'll say mine, I guess.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what I remember from it. I go in your tent, and I remember telling you like you have to let me sleep in your tent now. Like there's like I'm not gonna not sleep in your tent. There's no option. I'm sleeping in your tent. And I feel like you had like a really like maybe it's like my memory is like over dramatizing it. But I feel like your tent was
like a castle of a tent.
Yeah, like I remember it like being this gigantic like this gigantic tent.
Seems like a small army. No, man.
Like
it was like a 5-person tent, which it means like 5 people like laying fucking like hot dogs in a package, like 5 people. You know what I'm saying? Like not with like a fucking queen size air mattress. You have a queen size air mattress in that motherfucker, and 2 people sleeping on it. You ain't got room for nothing. And we had some of our shit in there, not food, but we had like clothes and whatnot.
Yeah,
so there was really like no room. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go on from there because that's from what you saw from me barging into the tent. Like, what was your guys's?
All right, I saw total darkness because I was completely passed out.
Yeah.
Right. And when I wake up to my wife shaking me. Hey, you better get this motherfucker. And so I like wake up. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm fucked up, dude. I barely even know like where I'm at, what I'm doing. I just woke up from a fucking drunken stupor, bro, to you better get this motherfucker, right? So I wake up, I'm like, dude, what's going on? And I hear you say, you're actually outside of our tent. You were trying to get into our tent, but I don't think you could like find the zipper because I think you were fucked up, right? And so I just say to you because I can't get up. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? I thought you got hurt or something. Like I didn't know, like it sounded like that shit like hurt your soul, bro. And you're like, hey man, you got to let me sleep in your tent. And I was like, why? What do you need to sleep in my tent for? And you're like, I don't care if you're naked. Just let me fucking sleep in there. And I go, dude, what the fuck are you talking about, man? Like, what's going on? And I can hear this shit in my head. You just going, dude, your fucking cousin just shit all over my tent. And I just started dying fucking laughing, dude. Like it went from like serious concern to just me. I'm laughing like a hyena, dude. I'm just fucking like I have a fucking like belly ache. Like I'm fucking crying, and I'm just laughing hysterically, man. I remember you just being like, "Yeah, whatever, man. Fuck you," and then you just. So my cousins who have the fifth wheel, my cousin Matt, they had brought a trailer, which was like a work trailer, and that's what all the fireworks were in. And it had like a semi door where it had like the arm that like lifts up and swings, and then the door opens. And I remember you going into there first, and you put your shit in there, and you tried to sleep inside their work trailer, but you couldn't close it because from the outside close it the only reason I remember that is because you told me that. I fucking went back to sleep, bro. I was like, okay, you shit in your tent. All right, cool, man. Bam. I fucking went back to sleep. I was out. So I wasn't there for the rest of this. So it turns out you tried to sleep in this trailer, right? And you can't close the door. So you're afraid of nature, something open in this fucking door, like, oh, there's Tony in there. And so you ended up sleeping in the pup tent. That was the supply tent,
the food supply tent. Yep.
Which is the craziest part because all the food's in there. That was probably the most dangerous move of them all. And you risky motherfucker, you decided to sleep with the food knowing that there were bears around instead of sleeping with my cousin who had shit himself.
Yeah.
I don't blame you at all. I'd have done the same. But for someone who didn't like bugs, you got fucking balls of steel for that one. And then I remember waking up the next morning
Well, hold on. Let me before you do it, and then because you have the text message still, right?
I have the text message.
Okay, so let me just because I don't remember all of it, but I'm gonna tell you what I do remember, and
Okay.
I won't say the details. I'll let you read it.
Okay.
But so, because the whole thing with the tent, you're 100% right. Trying to get in your tent, and I was pissed. I was legit angry at you.
Yes,
I was very angry. At this point in my head, I'm thinking this is like a poop conspiracy. Like you guys had set this whole thing up. Like it was a big
Like he
prank
just
on me.
consistently shits himself all the time. Like we're gonna make him room with you.
Yeah.
Like Home Alone when they make him sleep with the kid that pisses himself. Like was that?
Yeah.
You're sleeping
So
with him tonight, and he's drinking a Coke. Like, no, man, that wasn't what it was.
I'm just like, all right, well, like, cause I just gotta write this guy a text message, let him know like how much he fucked up. And like I ended up going, you're right, I ended up sleeping in the supply tent because I wrote that text message, if my memory serves me right, in the fucking trailer. Yeah. When I couldn't get it fucking closed. And so I was like in the heat.
It's getting like madder and madder as it's going.
Yeah. Yeah. And in the background, your cousin's like trying to clean shit up. And like he's and he's stumbling around and apparently that's a whole other aspect of this. But so I ended up going in the supply tent, passing out, and I wake up and I completely like forgot about a lot of it. Like I knew like he shit and stuff, but I didn't really remember sending you the text or all this kind of stuff. So walk me through that. You wake up, do you look at the text message right away, or how does?
Okay, so there's no electricity, so you can't like charge your phone or anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, the real reason I looked at my phone was to see what time it was. Wake up, it's like 7 a.m.
Yeah.
And I look at my phone, and I have this text message, and it's from you. And so I open it up and I start reading it, and no bullshit, it was like a fucking movie, dude. Like there was birds chirping, squirrels fucking getting nuts, and me just laughing like a fucking hyena, dude. Just I could not contain my laughter. I was just laughing so hard. But this is the best part. The best part is I hear you and I hear Corey outside walking around, like breaking down your tents or doing something. I hear you guys moving around. But I hear like birds chirping. It was like a nice, pleasant like sound,
Yeah.
And I start reading this, and I'm fucking dying. And you guys I know you can hear me. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to like stop, but I can't. Dude. I'm laughing so hard. All right, so this is the infamous text message. Came on July 2nd, 2012, at 3:02 a.m.
We got down to the timestamp.
Timestamp right on the top. It's titled "The Greatest Story Ever." You say, "Not gonna lie to you, bro. Your cousin started puking, and he's shit in the tent. I'm really pissed off about this right now, so I had to sleep in the supply tent. Everything was all good, but guess what? Someone took a shit in my tent. Yes, I know it's your tent, but it was my rental place for a couple days. I'm not saying this is your fault. You forced us to room together. So I feel in a way this is a bit of your responsibility." Corey is a cool ass dude, and for the most part, I have no complaints. Unfortunately, he shit all over the most part. So correction. For the least part, I have no complaints. Before this trip, I was worried about bears and giant bugs. But now you see the real monster. That's a shit in your tent. I think it's easy for you to judge the situation like a funny joke. I wonder how funny the joke would be if the shit was in your tent. Oh, that's right. You don't have poop in your tent.
Oh, shit, dude. Oh, my God.
What a killer, dude. What a fucking killer.